If good advice is supposed to work, why did following it make no difference? We're taught that if advice is correct, it should work for you, as long as you apply it properly. And when it doesn't work, the assumption is simple: you misunderstood it, rushed it, or didn't execute well enough. This belief shows up everywhere: career advice, financial advice, health advice, productivity advice. The instructions are clear, the logic makes sense, and yet the results don't change. So people don't question the advice, they question themselves. Here's what's actually happening: most advice quietly assumes conditions that aren't guaranteed: time flexibility, financial slack, access to opportunities, and control over your environment. None of that is stated, it's just baked in. Advice sounds universal, but it's conditional, and systems decide which conditions exist. They determine which options are available, which risks are survivable, and which timelines are even possible. When those conditions aren't there, execution doesn't matter. Not because the advice is wrong, but because the situation makes it unusable. Advice doesn't fail because you applied it wrong. It fails because the system doesn't give you the options it assumes. That's why the same advice produces opposite results for different people. Not because one tried harder, but because one had options the other didn't. The advice didn't change, the system did. So here's the shift: when advice doesn't work, it's not because you applied it wrong, it's because the system never allowed it to work. We're taught to fix execution, but execution can't create options the system doesn't provide. Change the system, and the exact same advice suddenly works. That's why so much advice feels disappointing instead of helpful. It wasn't wrong, it was written for a situation you weren't in. So the real question isn't how to follow advice better, it's how some people end up in situations where advice actually works.